Welcome back, Masters and Princesses, with another episode of Made News Network. I am your host, S.J. Nix, and today we're going to talk with a fantastic photographer that if you've ever seen band-made pictures out on the internet, there's a real good chance some of those have been Jonathan Lane's photographs. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Good to see you, SJ.
You too. Yeah, we've been to a lot of the same concerts together and had some really good time in line. You were even one of our participants this year for our trivia contest, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I've shown that proudly to a lot of people.
Yeah, that was a really good time. Before we dive too deep into this, I just want to say to everybody out there watching this, thank you so much for helping with the Saiki flowers at the Palladium. I know there's a couple of videos about this, but I wanted to say if you haven't seen it, and I'll put it up in post production on this, she posted pictures of the flowers and the dom and the gold rose, and it is blatantly obvious that she's over the moon with that. So that wouldn't have happened without all of you kicking in the money, giving me the opportunity to pull it together. Absolute team effort would never have happened if you guys hadn't kicked in, and so excited for that for her and to get that done for her because the show was fantastic. She obviously enjoyed it.
I got to tell you something. I think the maids are all going to start timing their U.S. tours around their birthdays so they can get the kind of treatment they usually get from the U.S. fan base.
Yes, do that. We owe Achi and we owe Minsho. We've got the other three.
Yeah.
Those two are next. So we got Achi, you and I. In fact, you're one of the ones that started it in 2019 at Echoplex. You were the one. You had, I think, the original idea to do something for her, and we ended up with the banana pick.
I participated in that one, but yeah, I've been in the thick of it. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's nice to do all those side activities and support our maids.
All right. So we're really here today to talk about your amazing photography. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your photographic background, and how you came to be a great photographer?
Well, thanks for that compliment. So I had enjoyed taking photographs before the turn of this century, but I would say it was right in the early 2000s that I decided to get serious about it again, both for my enjoyment and also to do a little professional work. So I did a lot of things that a lot of photographers did then and still do today, which is events, weddings, bar mitzvahs, 40th birthday parties, corporate events, things like that, but also did a lot of photography. I was all over the place taking pictures of nature and landscapes and travel and street photography for my own edification and to get better at taking pictures. And I've been a music fan for a long time, and I actually looked it up because I always forget the date, but July 2nd, 2017, having arrived at a YouTube page through a circuitous series of musical enjoyment of mostly Korean and some Japanese jazz artists and so on, and the good old YouTube algorithm. After I heard about the festival in 2017 in the San Francisco area that you went to, was called
J-Pop Summit.
Yeah, I heard about J-Pop Summit because, in fact, I've gotten interested in all of this crazy Harajuku culture. I thought it was really colorful and interesting. I thought it'd be fun to go to Japan and photograph these people. And I looked up J-Pop Summit, and guess what came up? A commercial done by Bandmate announcing to the world that they were going to be at J-Pop Summit 2017. I thought, wow, these people are kind of weird and cool. Let me check them out. And it won't come as a surprise to Bandmate fans that the first video I checked out was Thrill. And it only took about Breaking New Gate, Note, and I was in. And I became a rabid fan, like so many of this Bandmate family have become very quickly, and kind of went deep down the old rabbit or pigeonhole real quick, right?
Right.
And so that's what happened. That really also kicked off a whole new rich enjoyment of music that beyond even what I'd ever done before, ever experienced before. And like a lot of our fellow bandmate fans, I'm a big fan and spend a lot of my music listening time listening to J-rock and J-pop and even some Japanese jazz artists who are really terrific for those of you that like jazz. Um, and I back to my photography. I was nothing wrong with being eclectic, I suppose, but I was kind of all over the place. I mean, in terms of topics and things I was shooting, and when I look at the things that I was posting online and just enjoying for myself or showing to people, it was all over the place. And but 2018, I went to another band's concert and kind of found that I liked the idea of capturing musicians at work. I've done a little bit of that, local musicians and people I knew in my area. That was fun too. But that just kind of really woke me up. Then, really quickly, fast forward, I missed the 2018 bandmate tour because I was sure they were going to stop in New York, which would have been convenient for me since I'm on the East Coast. And they didn't. They flew right from LA or San Francisco to Helsinki, skipped us right by us. So I decided, as God is my witness, I shall never miss a bandmate tour again. So I made sure the nanosecond that their tickets for 2019 went on sale, I went and got tickets and toured with them. They didn't know I was touring with them, but I toured with them to all 5 gigs around the U.S.
Oh, you did all 5? Okay.
Yeah. One of them it was going to be 4, and they sold out the wonderful Gramercy Theater in New York so quickly that they added another gig. I guess they couldn't do the Gramercy the next night, so they went to this really cool place called the Mercury Lounge, a little further downtown, and we'll see a couple of pictures from there later.
Okay. Now, the Mercury is a lot smaller than Gramercy, right? That was more of an intimate show.
They say it holds 200 people standing. I think that's 200 skinny people because it's really tight and intimate. The meet and greet was in this little narrow hallway, kind of like in a small apartment, walking down the hallway to the bathroom kind of thing. Very, very narrow, but it was great. It's a really nice place, very friendly, and been there a few other times and would go in a heartbeat. So yeah, so so I kind of, a lot of people liked the photos, and I guess I kind of liked a lot of the photos I got too, and I was kind of thrilled about that, and the rest is history. And so I can walk past macro photography opportunities, the Grand Tetons, whatever, and all I want to do is get to a concert and photograph musicians at this point. So I do that. That's about 90 or more % of everything I do right now. Gotcha. Go to a lot of shows, just trying to perfect my craft and get better and better.
So we talked a little bit before we got started here. All the photos we're going to see today is with basically like a point and shoot camera because you haven't cracked that photo pass yet for a bandmate show.
Yes, I consider that all sort of part of my learning. I guess a lot like wax on, wax off. Doing all these difficult. Overcoming challenges just makes you a stronger photographer is how I look at it. So yeah, there has been a challenge so far that especially since a lot of venues are kind of strict, I've had to be restricted to pocket cameras that people that are considered okay to bring into a venue for these events.
Right.
Now, Kobato-san, if you are listening to this, please help me come and take even better photos of you next time. You can contact Made News Network to communicate with me about that.
Let's make that happen. Let's get John a photo pass for the next US tour when he's out here. So with that, we're going to take a look at some of your photos here. And the first one we are going to look at is Akane with her stick raised up to the air, shouting banana, maybe.
She's doing that move that she does. I bet you at the same time she's kicking that kick drum. Boom,
yeah.
Boom, boom. And to the best of my recollection, that was the first show I went to last year in October in San Francisco, where I had a pretty good vantage point. It's a nice venue, just the right height, and you could see everybody. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, the drummer very often, whether it's a startup band or band maybe up to the fame level of bandmate, tends to be in the shadows. So you got to really sort of time things just right. Wait for those darn lead guitarists to get out of the way and the bass players to get their legs and their arms and their headstocks and everything out of the way, and just kind of get in there and grab the shot when you can. So it helps to have watched probably cumulatively 10,000 bandmate videos, so I kind of know what their moves are like, and you can kind of anticipate them.
And see, that's another thing about doing music photography. Knowing the songs inside and out makes your job and the photos exponentially better. Because I know a lot of these guys that get photo passes for this stuff maybe know the music a little bit, but if you know when Misa's going to step forward for a bass solo, you can position yourself. Like these like that Achi pick, you know the music intimately. So I think that's why and again, let's get John a photo pass. He's going to take some amazing pictures because you know the songs inside and out like the rest of us do.
And like a lot of us big fans, I feel like I know the band.
Yeah.
So I know both, I have a feeling maybe for what they're going to do and what looks great, when they look the coolest or the best or the the most exciting or excited, and even know what, because I do this largely to as my contribution to this great fan base and community that you and I are both involved in. I like to share the charms and the not only musical but also just the non-musical stuff that they do on stage that endears them to us, as well as other bands, of course. But we're talking about bandmates, so I'll focus on that. So knowing what their signature moves are and kind of anticipating what they're going to do does help.
Yeah. So the next one we'll put up here is it's the Akane smile, and it's pretty hard to take a picture of her not smiling. I get it, but there's something about this one. She is just so happy, and it translates really, really well. Do you know where this one was at?
Yes, I think I do. I think that too is San Francisco. I think that's San Francisco, but it was definitely on this tour. You can also tell by the hair length.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But I think that was San Francisco just because of the position I was in. And besides the fact that 5 bandmate concerts are at least 5 times as good as only going to one, you get the opportunity, if you can go to more than one show for a tour, to position yourself differently, because it's not always that easy to move around. Mm-hmm. And then I can get better shots of, say, Akane and Misa and Kanami and Niku and Saiki in the middle. So that's it. Yeah. Getting her happy, but also getting the light on her. Gosh darn it. That's the trick, really. And, and having the drumstick up in the air. So, be patient.
That's a good shot.
Gotta be at the right place.
Right. So the next 3 are going to be Minsho, and this first Minsho one, I'm going to side by side 3 and 4, because photo 4 that you have is just the quaint demure, playing her guitar, doing her thing, and then the one I'm going to put right next to it is the rock goddess in the moment. You're talking about lighting. I mean, the gods are shining down on her, and she is a different person, just going nuts.
She is such a Jekyll and Hyde, isn't she? I mean, she's got that sweet, and it's sincere. I like to believe that's really Minsho. That's really her personality. She's that sweet, sort of nice, helpful librarian kind of person who would bend over backwards for you, even when she isn't holding a guitar. She just. And I think I've heard the maids say the same things in interviews here. Heard her bandmates say that she just transforms into a different person. It's like she's been possessed. And so that's fun to catch. The number 3 was actually one of the last shows on the October tour. It was at the New Jersey venue.
Oh, okay.
Lucky enough, the stage was only about 12 inches or 10 inches higher than the floor we were standing on. So I was able to get some good angles. And, you just got to wait, watch her and wait for other band members get out of the way, and boom, I caught that one.
So where are you in the crowd? Are you on the rail for this one? Are you a couple of rows back?
I was one and a half. I was in the one and a half row, if you will. Yeah, so I was able to. When they let us in, I ran, as a lot of other people did, but there were people ahead of me, and so I just kind of positioned myself in a pretty good spot, kind of Miku alignment, for those of you that are familiar, and yeah, so I was in between two people that were one row in front of me. Yeah, and that's sometimes still can be a challenge, but the gods were with me that day, just as they were shining down on Konami in this shot.
All right.
But I just really like the motion in that. I think that's sort of almost like that sort of V shape she's making there with her body and the guitar and the other arm and the arm.
No, that's a fantastic shot. I love that shot.
Thank you. And number 4, yep, there's that sweet personality. She's just enjoying the heck out of herself, and although that was in a huge space, it was still sort of an intimate stage and crowd environment, and they really related. They really loosened up by that point in the tour, and I think there was just a really great rapport. She was probably actually smiling at somebody in the crowd when that shot was taken.
Yeah, it looks like she's looking at someone or something, not just staring off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got the rock goddess again here with the purple light in the background. Just
that was on at my first bandmate tour, so that was kind of extra special, as I'm sure you can relate. That was at the Gramercy Theater in New York. I was on the rail, and directly in front of Konami, and so again, just waiting for her to get into that rock goddess mode, and the lighting was pretty close to as good as it gets, and I snapped it.
Right on. Yeah, that's a really good picture.
I have a copy of that right up there on my wall. It's 16 by 20 shot of that, because that's one of my favorites. It kind of makes me happy when I'm otherwise maybe having a rough day at my desk.
Gotcha. All right, now we're going to move on to, of course, we don't have favorites, but yeah, favorites.
It could be your favorite. Favorite musician. Okay.
Yeah, we get the Misa here. So this is just, do you know where this is at? Obviously it's 2019 or sooner, because she's got her relic bass, and she's playing orange.
Let's see. I'm just gonna, so I don't have to keep on looking away from you guys, I'm gonna put that stuff in front of me if I can. There we go. Okay.
These will be overlays. I wouldn't worry too much about that, but yeah. So photo number 6.
Number 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go look over here. Number 6. That was actually 2022, and if I'm not mistaken, that's got to be San Francisco once again. It was a great venue. The light was pretty decent, and good view for all of us in the crowd. So yeah, the number 6 with the orange amp in the back. Yeah, that was in San Francisco.
And I'm seeing from not just your stuff, but from other videos, that you can kind of tell what city she's in by what beer is on the amp, because she was getting regionals. And I can't really see which beer is on her amp back there, but there's obviously one sitting there.
I'll have to. That'll help me out in the future if I can't remember. I'll have to check that out. Good for her that she's into local sourcing.
This is of the ones that you sent me, this is my favorite Misa pick, because I've been here. I've been that close to her, almost to the point where, I mean, you can see the wraps on the bass strings because she's so damn close.
Right.
Where was this from?
So number 7 we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That was in 2019 at the extra show in New York at the Mercury Lounge, where she could have punched me in the nose if she wanted to, and vice versa. We were that close. Most of the time, so I'd been standing a long time that day. Yeah. I was able to rest my arm right on the monitors that face them, on that wedge monitor that faces the musicians. I had my arm right on that, so I could really feel her bass playing the whole time. And yes, this was a pretty wide angle lens. And what I really like about it was what I like about being able to get that close and get a shot that close is I really learned to appreciate. You can appreciate from the photo, I think, how hard she's working with that fretting hand, that left hand. She just really is working hard all the time, and I think we all know that. And certainly the results are great, but she deserves all the beer she wants to have during those shows because she's working really hard. But yeah, I had to duck a few times because this was like that Jurassic Park effect where with the objects are closer than they appear.
Right.
That headstock was probably about this far away from my nose a couple of times. I could have gotten whacked with it.
Right. And
So
this
I
is,
had to dodge and duck a few times.
I think one of the things, and this is probably nerdy photography stuff. I know just enough to be dangerous. The fact that her hand and her face are both in focus, you could run into focal length issues with this. I realize, and because it's so close up, to get them both with a small camera is pretty damn impressive too.
It's a challenge, but and because it's depth of field is what you're talking about. So what I normally go for, unless I'm going for an effect or have the luxury of multiple, trying a few different things, is, and other music photographers might have a different perspective on this, but if I prefer to get the face in focus. If I can see the eyelashes and you can see the eyelashes in the shot, I'm happy. Because these are people, and although we enjoy the music, the people get the credit for making that great music. So, but that one, with the wider angle lens, if you happen to have one, the upside to that is the depth of field is better, so more things will be in focus. And now I'm getting even nerdier than you are, so we'll stop right there for now. Any bandmate fans that would like to talk about photography, just get in touch and we'll talk sidebar.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that invite to them. I wouldn't be surprised if a few people contacted you on that. And we'll put another thing here at the end. I'll make sure in the pinned comment and in the description that your Instagram page there, so people can look at all your other stuff, and your Facebook information if you want to take that, or if you just want them on your Instagram. We'll put all that information there to get you a little extra looks.
And like you YouTubers like to say, like and subscribe, please follow me.
Absolutely.
I'm always putting up new stuff.
All right, moving on to Miko-san, Kobato-san. This first one, photo 8. It's an action shot. I don't recognize that lighting that's on the sides. Where's that from?
That, with all the pics I took, 5 shows, those lights actually helped me, but you weren't there. That's actually in New Jersey once again, at that weird amusement park place where they rode on the roller coaster beforehand. It was really quite amazing. I think everybody, you might remember this, before the tour, everybody was speculating, especially people who knew this shopping mall / amusement park in New Jersey, was wondering how the heck are they going to make this work?
Right.
And one of the challenges, I think, was because it's this huge cavernous space, echo, that the audio wouldn't be right and everything. And they worked, watching them for a few hours put that stage together was really pretty amazing. And they really took a nothing space and made it look really cool with things like those vertical arrays of lights and so on. Sometimes they're a little bit too bright, and that's a challenge, but worked out okay here. And again, the lighting was anywhere from wonderful to abysmal during that show. And but I was able to get I think some pretty good action shots of Kobato. I just love her. I just love how she's evolved into such a total rock star. She 7-8 years ago, she was already super cool and she deserves all kinds of accolades, but she wasn't really a great guitar player, right? And at one point she didn't know how to play. I just love her being a rock star, and you can tell. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. She just loves being a rock star too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just being here for the evolution of this band. Like I jumped on board a little bit after Thrill was released, like spring 2016, 15, whatever, because Thrill was released, I want to say it was November 2015. So I found them a few months after Thrill came out. It had less than 1 million views, and to grow with them and be a part of the evolution has been nothing short of amazing.
Yes, it's nice to have latched on. And I was about to say, gee, I wish I had figured that out in 2015 instead of waiting until 2017. But like I've told people who become fans even last year, anytime you become a bandmate fan is a good time.
Right. I agree 100%. So this is a really, you were talking about her becoming a rock star, and this next photo is a perfect example. This is obviously, well, and I shouldn't say obviously, but I'm going to assume it's Homogenite time.
Yes, it was Homogenite time. If you don't know Miku, you might just think she's singing, but I'm pretty sure she was yelling out "moi moi." And I wanted to get again wide angle lens, that same wide angle lens that I was 2 inches away from Misa a couple of pictures ago. I was pretty much in the same spot. She turned around because she's good at giving everybody a little bit of FaceTime, and I snapped that shot. I wanted to get the audience's reaction in there. While I like to really capture the personalities of musicians, that's kind of my main thing, my main thrust. Naturally, it's, you want to show the engagement with the people, and so I tried to capture that there. That was again at the Mercury Theater. That same as that Misa shot a couple of pictures back.
So the impressive thing about this is, without a photo pass, you managed to get the camera in a position where you can have the crowd in the shot. That's impressive. Unless the stage kind of has a convex shape to it or something. Yeah, there you go.
Wax on, wax off. It's just all practice. That's why I go to, last year I went to I tried to count, I think probably about 75 shows.
Right on.
75 shows, maybe 100 and 200 bands.
All right. Now, these next two pictures are Saiki. First one will be number 10. And
I'm going to say that was in New York City.
Okay.
It was last year, and that was New York City.
Of all of them and their growth, I think Saiki has impressed me the most, because she has really transformed over the years. And I was always like, oh yeah, she's a really good singer and she's a part of the band. And she has a presence that exceeds the other four, and I can't really describe it. They all have their own individual personalities, but there is something endearing and imposing at the same time.
One kind of highfalutin phrase that comes to mind is she does have a regal bearing when she puts the mic in her hand, right?
Yeah.
But yes, for those that have been like us that have been following the band, we've been able to see, because she's allowed everyone to see the really cool person that's in there behind that maybe lofty exterior sometimes, right? That cold, a little bit sort of that cold attitude, I'm the boss kind of thing, attitude. And yeah, I mean, and she puts her heart and soul, which is what I love about watching her and trying to capture, is she just really does, like the rest of them, put her heart and soul into every performance and every song. And I thought this kind of captured that fairly well. I mean, that's her with the microphone and the blue rose.
Yeah, that's it's so good. And that's another thing, we were talking about evolution before. She has evolved to she's kind of come out of that tsundere, that hard on the outside, soft, and all of that softness, and she smiles so much more now, and she's so much more comfortable. I think some of that hardness was from not being completely comfortable.
Yeah.
But 95% of that is gone. She still keeps a little bit for swagger, but she doesn't come off as cold anymore. It's a totally different vibe.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And the other whole thing about her is that she knows her role. She's the front woman. She's the masculine word is impresario. She's the boss. Mm-hmm. And she really knows how to step into that role when the time comes. But if I can tell you a real quick anecdote,
Yeah.
First bandmate show, I was kind of giddy as a schoolgirl. As they finally let us in, and I had a VIP ticket. So that back then it was meet and greet. You might remember, and they were signing the
Yeah.
postcards like in the assembly line, and you got to look at and say hi to each one of the members for about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
And I had tried rehearsing and rehearsing. I had all kinds of great things I wanted to be able to say to them since I was going to see them face to face. And I realized, forget it. I got to keep it real simple. So I just tried to learn how to say, welcome to New York.
Mm.
New York, e yokoso. About like that. I figured if I can just remember to say that's something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first bandmate person that I looked at, that I locked eyes with, met face to face ever, was Saiki. So already I was like, melted into a little pool of, patheticness. But I looked her in the eyes and I remembered to say, New York, e yokoso. And that moment was when I realized that there was that warm-hearted person inside of her, because she looked at me and she gave me kind of a look like this, like, she said, like, not bad, good job. And then you know what happened after that? Because of that, I couldn't even remember to say New York e yokoso to the other four. I just kind of looked at them and said, bowed and said arigato, and that was it, because I couldn't remember to say. I totally emptied my head.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I've kind of became that much more of a Saiki fan, and appreciate how even during a tour she gets better and better as the tour goes on. Yeah.
So, okay, this next one, out of every picture you sent me, this is by far my favorite picture. This one needs to be a poster. I'm going to let you talk about it and describe it, but this one says just so much. This one hits me right in the feels. Number 11.
Well, yeah, there's that. The previous picture is a singer, and if you love Saiki and you know what she sounds like and you like the songs, they'll kind of, I would hope, would kind of be redolent of that singing and the music and everything. But that next one just has that intensity we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She just really puts every bit of emotion. She feels the lyrics and the overall experience of the concert, and just puts her all into it. And yeah, there's just incredible passion in that shot, and I was enjoying that. That again, you can tell from the array of lights that's in the New Jersey venue.
Just an amazing photo. I love that one so much.
Thank you. She well, she helps, she just really knows how to be that diva up there on the stage.
Maybe a couple more I want to look at here real quick. Number 12, it's guitarists being playful.
I mean, anytime a bassist and guitarist, or two guitarists in the band, can do that little thing where they kind of flirt with each other and duel a little bit, maybe, is a fun shot to capture if you can. Being more familiar with Bandmate than some of the bands that I don't really know hardly know until I show up, I was able to anticipate this a little bit more, but they were really helpful too. The two of them do it for a nice extended period of time, so that helps kind of. And this again and the next shot were both in the New Jersey venue, as you'll be able to figure out. But they're just having so much fun, and that's just such a big part of the overall experience, is that we know that everybody's having fun at these shows. And I know that they're working extremely hard, and they've worked extremely hard to be able to give us this good a show every time.
Mm-hmm.
But they're having fun, genuinely having fun, and that's so much fun to capture.
Yeah. And last one, we'll talk about number 14. It's just the front line owning the venue.
Right. Yep. And again, wide angle. I believe that too was in New York City, from the angle and the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you got to just kind of figure out who you're going to focus on, both in I just captured it because they did for me what I wanted them to do.
Right. Great stuff. Jonathan, this has been a fantastic conversation. I appreciate you sharing all of these photos with me and now with the fans. I'm going to guess some of these have, or any of these not been released before? Are these any first timers?
I think a few of them may not be. Yeah, I do get a little carried away, especially when it's bandmade, and they help me look good. So yeah, I do have a lot of photos. I think maybe a few of these have not been posted on Instagram, or occasionally, I don't put as many on Facebook. So by all means, but I will be posting more, and I'll make sure that about my website too, which a lot of people
Perfect.
aren't aware of yet, where I have a lot more.
Awesome. Yeah, by all means, share that with me. I'll put it in the description and the pinned comment. Uh, Drive a little traffic for you and give some of the hardcore fans something new to look at, because we know photos get recycled quite a bit in the fandom.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They do tend to. Well, yeah, I had a great time too, and of course, it's always fun hanging out with you, even if we're doing it electronically this time. And we won't name any other great Japanese rock bands, but I'll be seeing you in a few weeks, enjoying another great Japanese rock band out your way.
You're coming to LA, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. He's talking about Nemophila. I will be out there. Uh, that's okay. There are other bands out there. They're not better bands, but there are other bands.
It's a great experience. Yeah, if you can get a ticket for that one, still either there on California on the East Coast, get yourself a ticket.
Absolutely, it'll be fun. Anyways, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today. I had a blast talking to you. I will see you in a couple of weeks. And then to all the fans out there who watched this video today, thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions, anything that you want us to talk about, anybody you want us to interview besides the band, that's the goal, obviously. But we're always looking for material. And with that, I will say thank you so much from Peter and myself at Made News Network. This has been SJ Nix with Jonathan Lane. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time on Made News Network.
And thank you very much, Paul.